Joe Blasco here for MUA TV, and we have a very special guest. Mr. Larry Bones will be with us in just 30 seconds. Don't you go away.
Do you have the passion of an artist? Does the idea of working on a living canvas thrill you? For over 30 years, Joe Blasco has pioneered the ultimate training for film and television makeup artistry. Students are taught to become professional makeup artists by industry professionals at our state-of-the-art facilities in Hollywood and Orlando. Join our award-winning graduates and realize your dream of becoming a professional makeup artist today. Visit us at joeblasco.com or call 323-467-4949 to schedule a tour of our campus.
Well, we're back with our special guest, Mr. Larry Bones. How are you, Larry?
I'm doing very good.
I haven't seen you in a long time.
Absolutely. It's great to be here.
Where have you been all this time?
Oh, I've been in Universal Studios.
Universal Studios. It's funny because you're working... Larry is working Halloween Horror Nights, and I kind of started Halloween Horror Nights. You know that?
Absolutely.
Down in Florida.
Absolutely.
Florida. And when I first moved my school to Orlando, Florida, I was working on one of the producers who was doing the Beetlejuice Graveyard Review. I don't know if they still have that. Was a fan, an avid fan of all of my horror films and all my early David Cronenberg films and the Ilsa She-Wolf of the SS pictures, which will not be discussed any further than their title. He called me and he says, "Hey, I hear you're in Orlando, Florida, and we've got this great project. It's Halloween Horror Nights, you know." And so I started working with them, and I had my entire crew, you know, taking casts of people's faces, and we were making Frankensteins and all kinds of ungodly, horrific things. And Halloween Horror Nights, that was 1991, and then it has blossomed into something so spectacular. And then they began then out here in Hollywood as well. And so now it's in Florida at Universal as well as in Hollywood, and you are supervising all of the makeup creations for the Hollywood studio. So how is it to work for Universal Studios? Like, I don't know, but let's hear what you think.
Universal Studios, it's a fantastic job. It's actually the highlight of my year. It actually takes up half of my year. We actually start in July and actually don't get wrapped up until the first week of November. But it's spectacularly amazing in the fact that we've got a gigantic crew. We get to be able to work all of these prosthetics and masks, and I have a gigantic team of people that we bring in. And
how many artists do you have?
I have a crew of 38 people this year, and that involves prosthetic makeup artists, my airbrush team, I have my hair and wig girls, I have masks, I have people just doing blood, I have production coordinators, so it's actually a very large event.
What airbrush product do you use?
This year we're actually currently using a Graftobian makeup product. We're actually using there because they have a matched color for the rubber mask grease. So we have a color scheme.
Rubber mask grease.
Rubber mask grease.
I don't feel so old.
Absolutely. We like to keep everything color coded. So the airbrush people are working the same colors as our prosthetic team. So everyone has the same palette they're working with.
Right. That's great. I love Graftobian.
Absolutely.
They're, as far as I'm concerned, they're the theatrical type, makeup.
Absolutely.
If you're like in high school or in college doing theater work, Graftobian is the product to use, most definitely. And professionally, film and television, whatnot. Brad Look actually had a lot to do with the creation of their rubber mask grease, which we call appliance makeup these days. So they tell me. And so that's great. Congratulations on all that you're doing at Universal.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Now you have 38
people.
38 people.
Yes.
How do you divide them up as far as, do they all do everything? Do they all do lab work and they all come in and do the facial impressions, then they all come in and do the sculpting, then they all come in and do the mold making, and then they all come in and foam, and then they all come in and apply the makeup? I mean, is that how you do it? I mean, they can all each do everything.
Yes, all of my team have the ability to do any job. Basically, though, what I have is a much smaller crew of people that I have in shop. So I only have maybe 12 people in shop that are basically my specialists in mold making and sculpting and painting.
Right.
And then I have the rest of my crew that actually just come in for the event itself.
Right.
And these are people that, that have been with me since the year one. They always come back. They love this job. They hold it very close to their heart. So they come back year after year.
Well, it must be a lot of fun.
It's very much fun. It's crazy. We do over 400 people a night now in about a 3.5-hour window.
How many nights?
We're doing 15 nights this year.
15 nights at 400 people a night?
Absolutely.
Are you making up the people that are coming to participate as well?
Oh no, it's just the characters in the park. So we do approximately about 88 prosthetics a night.
Now let me ask you this: you have like a haunted house area? Is one of the stages made into like a haunted house?
Well, there are actually mazes throughout the park. So actually what we have is what we call scare base, which is actually in the bottom of one of the parking garages. It's all set up for us with all of our makeup stations. All the costuming is down in there. So the actors can come in and check in, get their wardrobe, get changed, come to us. We put them in their full makeup. They get their props, and they're shuttled out to the location in the park.
Yes.
And there are mazes. So we have like a Freddy Krueger maze this year. We have a Texas Chainsaw. We have Friday the 13th. So, and all the areas in the park are actually themed out. So it's not just a bunch of people running around. So we have, like, in the streets, we have Old Town London. So we have Jack the Ripper and werewolves. So each area is actually themed throughout the park.
I want to go.
Oh, absolutely.
I want to see this.
Actually, Haunt World magazine voted us the #1 haunted attraction in the country.
Wow.
So we're actually getting
over
fantastic.
Universal Florida?
Over Universal Florida.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We try to really push the envelope to a film quality. It's not so much haunted house makeup anymore.
Yes.
It's film quality. So we want to make sure that edges are
it's Hollywood.
Absolutely.
We're in Hollywood.
We have the
Be
reputation.
that way. That's
yes.
right. Are you using any of my graduates?
I'm using most of your graduates.
Really?
And the majority of my crew are your graduates from Joe Blasco.
Oh, that's terrific.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's really great. Listen, you say you have people like in all areas of the park doing this.
Yes.
So you have a Freddy Krueger area. Now, does he wander around, or is he? Tell me, what do you mean?
Well, this particular year, it's actually Freddy Krueger has been released in the back lot. So it's actually a maze. So it's actually a maze that you see many of the scenes from the
So you
movies.
go into this maze?
Yes.
I see.
And
I
in
got
here, you will see scenes from all the different Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street films.
Yes.
And all the characters you're familiar with in the films are actually in this maze.
Yes.
And being the fact that it's Freddy
Krueger. They
Krueger,
come out at you and they jump out at you?
Oh, absolutely.
Do they grab you? Are they allowed to grab you?
No, there's no touching of any of the guests in the park. Absolutely. That's a big rule.
No touching.
No touching. Absolutely. And because it's done as Freddy Krueger this year, right up front of the park we have the Freddy Fly Girls, which are go-go dancers, which are raised up on these platforms, and they have smoke machines coming into them, and they're all dressed up as Freddy Krueger.
Freddy Fly Girls.
Freddy Fly Girls.
What are they? How are they made up?
They're actually done with a very high glamorous makeup, but then they're done with a gory slit throat that's bleeding all over them.
Oh my God!
And they have the Freddy Krueger sweater and the hat, and they're in fishnet stockings, and it's very, very interesting. They're very popular this year.
I think that's worth going to see just for that.
Absolutely.
Alone.
Absolutely.
I love it. So, what time does the show start each evening?
The park opens at 7 p.m. and it closes at different nights. Sometimes it's midnight, sometimes it's 2 a.m. The closer we get to actual Halloween, we're at 2 a.m. every night.
Should people come like in a raincoat, or are they going to get blood on them or water?
There's no blood. There are actually a lot of water effects that simulate blood and bodily fluids and stuff, where a guy's getting his head crushed and his eyes popping out, and you're getting sprayed with water. So you get the sensation of that, but it's only water.
Right. Oh, that's great.
So
that's terrific. So there has to have been some really interesting experiences that you can talk about that, while this has been being created. What's kind of been something unique that you can discuss?
Boy, the list is endless on that. With an event like this, there's always unexpected things that come up. We have character changes and things like that throw our system all out of whack.
Do you change people's makeup like halfway through the show? Does one person or do any of them play like several characters?
We actually have not done it this year, but last year we had a thing where we had military men that were in a toxic area warning everyone not to go into this area, and then halfway through the night they would run back and we would change them into a zombie with all these toxic boils on them and run them back out. So people would see them coming into the park normal. When they left, they'd see them all toxified.
Right. How many people actually attend this in a night?
Well, as I believe, we do approximately 20 to 30,000. Last year on our peak, we actually hit over 50,000 people in the park. So we
in one night.
In one night.
50,000. That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of
Scared.
people. It is, absolutely. It's wall-to-wall people on some of those nights.
Do people faint ever?
Oh, absolutely. People faint. They lose control of their bodily functions. It's insane. It's insane. We have a room in one of the mazes. It's actually a bathroom that they pump the smell of bathrooms into that people have very adverse reactions to.
Okay.
Yes. It's something that must be seen and
All right.
experienced.
Well, I'm sure you're going to get a lot of the Hollywood people coming to see that. let me ask you this. Yeah, you kind of threw me off with that one.
It throws off most people who see it.
So, are there ambulances standing by?
Oh,
We used to, when I
absolutely.
did the makeup for the Lawrence Welk show, because it was like all senior citizens, when they would meet Lawrence, they didn't know, how these people would react, and sometimes they fainted.
Oh, wow.
So they always had an ambulance outside the soundstage just in case somebody had a coronary. But have you had any people have heart attacks?
Oh, not that I'm aware of. We have a lot of people that we've had to have escorted out of the park just because they get too scared, and their reaction is usually to throw their arms about and hit back. So
Really?
So yes, we've had to have a
So
really
you have
careful-
security all through the maze.
Absolutely. There's a lot of people dressed in black that are in the backgrounds that you not aware there.
Do you make them up dark so they're not
Yes.
able to be seen?
They get a black airbrush and then a black hood pulled on over that.
Wow.
So they're completely invisible to the patrons coming through the park.
Amazing. That's amazing. So what's your favorite character to make up?
Oh boy, there are so many that are great.
Do you do the makeups yourself as well?
I do not.
Or do you just supervise?
I am just a supervisor.
Well, that's a lot of work.
Absolutely. So I'm actually there making sure, watching quality control, making sure the looks of these characters are true to how Universal wants them to be.
Right.
So it's just making sure that we have that continuity night after night, that these characters look the same.
Absolute continuity, just like working a film.
It is absolutely like working a film.
Yeah.
We basically take continuity shots on our first weekend, and with all the information of how the makeup is to be done, the
Yes.
hair work, and that is to be followed every night.
Yeah. How wonderful. It sounds as though the execs at Universal are really cooperative, and they've kind of given you like full reign over this, haven't they?
Absolutely. I've developed a fantastic relationship with Universal in the 3 years we've been doing this.
Yes.
To the point, that we're now looking at doing right after the final day of Halloween Horror Nights, we're now looking at moving right into a Christmas event with them.
A Christmas event.
So there's no sleep for me until 2009.
Oh, I can see. This is terrific. This is great.
Absolutely.
So what would the Christmas event be? It would be kind of like Santa Claus and all the little elves and visiting the North Pole or something of that nature.
Yes, they have a snow event, but actually it's going to be the Grinchmas.
So the Grinchness.
That's right. So we'll be doing the Grinch and Who's and Max the Dog.
Wow.
So-
that sounds great.
So going from one production right into another.
I love it. Larry, how did you get started in makeup? When did you know that you wanted to be a makeup artist? How old were you at that point?
Boy, I don't know. I think I was a very small boy when I used to sneak out of bed and go downstairs and turn on the TV and watch old Universal movies.
Right, exactly.
Dracula,
Didn't we all?
Frankenstein.
We all started that way.
Oh,
didn't we?
absolutely.
Jack Pierce's makeup and Frankenstein and
Abs-
Dracula, the Mummy and the Werewolf.
Yes, absolutely.
Those are wonderful films. And if you're not familiar with those old Universal films, you should make a point to see them. They're available. You can buy them, on disc now.
Definitely.
And I have a complete collection at both of my schools and at home. And I've constantly had people coming over telling me, I've never seen the original Frankenstein. As hard as that is to believe.
Absolutely.
So I'm always running the old Universal films. It's terrific. Now, was there any one person in your life that would be a mentor that really helped inspire you or to push you along?
Well, I think actually it was about the time the American Werewolf in London came out that really sparked me to think, wow, this is something, it takes things that I love. I've always
Rick
loved
Baker.
horror films. Rick Baker.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Was the one that kind of threw me over the edge.
Right.
So at that point I started thinking, wow.
He's thrown a lot of people
Oh,
over the edge.
isn't that the truth?
Yes, he has.
Absolutely. It was
Thank
between
goodness for that.
And then like The Thing, when that came out with Bottin.
Rob Bottin.
Absolutely. Those are the kind of really things that really started, it was that heyday in the 80s when
Yeah.
you really started seeing all this effects work coming out
Oh, yeah.
that made me start thinking, hey, this is something I really would like to do.
Yeah, and how long have you been doing prosthetics?
Actually moved down here to attend your school in 1993.
Mm-hmm.
So in 1993, I came down here. I went through the whole class. I graduated. I actually opened up my my studio, Boneyard Effects.
He has a studio where he manufactures tons of all kinds of things.
Oh, absolutely.
Masks. I mean, you do prosthetics for films,
yes,
television shows.
Yes, right.
And you have a line of masks that I believe you make also for Halloween.
Yes, they're actually generic fit foam latex prosthetics that we sell. All the time we sell them for Halloween. We sell them for productions, for stage.
What's your website? Can they buy through your website?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you can go to our website at www.boneyardeffects.com.
Boneyardeffects.com. You're the Bone Meister. What percentage of Joe Blasco graduates would you say that you've employed over the years since 1995, let's say?
Anytime that I get a job, this is the first place I come for people. It's my number one place. It's my alma mater. Here's where I come. So I would say probably over half of my in-shop crew are graduates.
Where is your shop?
It's actually located in Glendora, which is
Glendora.
Yes, which is just outside of Los Angeles by about it's about a half-an-hour drive outside of Los Angeles.
Wow, that sounds like a field trip. You should bring sometime some of our advanced prosthetic students there.
Oh, absolutely.
To visit you. Would that be cool?
Oh, that would that would be fun.
And as far as all the projects that you've done, what is your most interesting? Which do you really think about? You look back and you think, wow, that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. I wished I could get more projects like that. What would that project be?
Strangely, it is Universal Studios. It's such a huge undertaking, and it makes me so proud to see all of my crew come together and be able to create these fantastic characters for me.
It's kind of like you're like Jack Pierce out there.
It is.
Isn't that great?
Absolutely.
Right. That's one of the things that used to really get through to my soul, so to speak, when I would work at Universal, and it was like, gee, I'm really, I'm working in the studio where Jack Pierce once worked.
Absolutely.
That was great. I loved it. Well, I'm so glad to see you, and I'm glad to know that you're so successful. You're doing very well. You've made me very proud.
Thank you.
And not only of the work that you're doing at Universal, but just all the stuff that you've been doing in general. I want to congratulate you. You keep up the great work.
Thank you very much.
You'll come back and visit us here at MUA TV again?
Definitely.
Very good. All right, Larry. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Larry Bones. And don't you go away, because we're going to be right back with more makeup and hair programming right after this.